Blip, 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 blip. What color are my tonsils? Listen. Cheers, guys. మనకు ఈరోజు చాలా 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 స్పెషల్ లైన్ ఆఫ్ ఎలా ఉన్నాడు. Now it's spiked. యాపిల్ జ్యూస్ ఏం చేస్తున్నావు? ఏం లేదు, సిట్టింగ్ ఎట్ హోమ్ గెటింగ్ బోర్డ్. So let's go. The only thing good here is the view. చూపి let's see. I hope చాలా మంది చూసే ఉంటారు కానీ it is for everybody to see. And yes, we kind of live in a deserted place. Peaceful place though. Then camp. ఈరోజు అసలు ఏం చేద్దామని ప్లాన్లో ఉన్నాం మనము? We thought of playing cricket, that's a flop. We thought of washing Truxton, which is left out, that's a flop. That'll happen tomorrow. By the way, you haven't seen the video, but we actually watched the Africa Twins. పేరు కూడా మర్చిపోయిన దాని పేరు, దాని రోజులు అయింది బైక్లు నడిపి. So we'll show the dashes today. We'll do that. I hope you guys will like it. Any bikes, let's show all the dashes and all the electronics of all the bikes we have. Street Triple is not at home. Street Triple is with whom?
Chaitanya.
I have no idea. Chaitanya. We have Shiva's bike. Shiva's bike and my Truxton are almost the same, but we'll show you one of those. And we have 2 other bikes. So we'll show you the dashes of all the 3 now. Let's go! So Srujan, yeah, how do you actually like this bike? What are the things you like about it, dislike about it? Electronics wise, what do you feel? Is it worth it?
I'm still in stage 1 of love of this bike. So
What is stage 1 of love?
you like everything about the bike.
Hey, come on, there are few things which you'll not like about it also, right? Okay, first things first, just tell me about the dash. What all do you have in it? What is missing? What do you want more?
So for people who have no idea, this is a DCT, so there's no gear lever, and this is not a clutch. It's a hand operated hand brake, park brake. Whenever the bike is stopped, the bike automatically goes into neutral. To put it in first gear, you just have to press this once and it goes into D mode, and that's basically the easiest drive mode, and the shifts happen way too fast and it gives maximum economy and all. And if you press it one more time, it goes into sports D mode. The shifts happen way too fast and it's actually useful for maximum economy. And sports 1, sports 2, sports 3, they hold the gear much longer. So because it holds the gear much longer, you are in the power band a bit more and you get more power.
So apparently Srujan is very uncomfortable to talk in front of the camera. Let's ask him why.
Not used to it.
Even I am not used to it. Come on, yeah. Even I'm trying, right?
Fine, listen.
Yeah,
So,
all of us are listening.
I'm sweating.
Look.
Okay, fine.
So we're doing a very simple thing here. We're just trying to make a small video about the electronics of the Africa Twin, or for that matter, all the bikes in our garage. And this guy is sweating.
It's hot. Acha, listen.
And it's not because of the heat. Yeah, listen.
These just hold the gear much longer. To get the maximum power, you have to look at this, which is P. P means power, and there are 3 levels of power modes, and 1, 2, 3, where 1 being the maximum power. And the EB is engine braking. Again, 3 levels of engine braking, 1, 2, 3. Maximum is 1. Traction control, the range between 0 to 7. And 0 is the lowest traction control available.
0 meaning off.
0 meaning off, yeah. And there's a cursor here which you can toggle between the modes, odometer, air temperature, average speed. I'm averaging 50.
Oh yeah, more than most important, what is the economy? There you go.
I'm getting 18.0, that is including the city and the highway. So on the highway I'm getting around 21 on the fair side, and in the city I'm getting somewhere around 16.
Not bad, not bad.
For
For
a 1000
cc.
Yeah, 1000 cc, that's pretty good. And just to, I mean, this is more off-road oriented machine. So there's a button here where you can turn off the rear ABS, the rear wheel ABS.
So for the KTM guys, it's called the Supermoto mode, right?
Huh. But they have to toggle through the TFT screens and all. But we directly have it here.
Nice. So that's about it? That's with your bike?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a very simple bike. Yeah. It doesn't have too many electronics and all. What's the most complicated thing about this I find is the DCT. Works like a charm.
It's easy.
It is actually the easiest bike to ride. It doesn't heat up.
No.
It is very easy to handle.
Okay,
the only thing
you asked for the bad parts of this bike. There are few problems which I face. The seat over here is extremely hard. Whenever I go on a long ride,
So the rider seat is hard.
Yeah, so I put on a radon or something, and he did not give main stand for an adventure tourer. That's bad.
That is not being given on any bikes these days. I don't understand why.
Tigers have them.
Yeah.
Tigers have them. And there's one more neat feature with this bike which I love the most is the DRLs. The DRLs. No other bike has them. These indicators, they act as DRLs.
Can you turn on the indicator as well so that we can look
if I
at
turn it on, it brightens blue.
it? And that's sweet.
And the rears are always off. It's the DRL,
So that's only for the front. Nice.
And one more bad thing, the lights are shit.
Shit.
Oh, I dropped the bike twice.
Oh, it's built like a tank.
Yes. I think
You dropped it once. Dad dropped it
I
the second
dropped
time.
it once, Dad dropped it twice. And nothing happened to it. Chaka chak hai.
Alright, those are the electronics with this beast from Japan, and now we have another beast just beside it from Italy. Oh, this has got a ton of electronics.
You need a separate vlog for that.
Yeah, it can actually go into a separate vlog just for that. Or I'll just show you the steering lock on this as well. So just have a look there. Okay, the steering lock actually just by a press of a button is locked that way. There's a small rod which actually goes back if you press it. And the dash. So just by unlocking this bike, the dash comes to life. So this is a very informative dash. Just like most of the modern day dashes, it changes color. It's black because it's dark inside the garage now. In the sunlight, display becomes white in color. You've got a lot of information. Everything can be controlled from the switchgear to the left with your left hand. And this part is your cruise control. This controls all the electronics. You have the hazard lights here. This is for your fog lights. If you have a factory fitted fog lights, it is here, which I don't have, so this is like a dummy button for me. Up here is the flasher, hazard flasher, and also the high beam. Push it out for high beam, in for normal beam, and hazard flasher. Horn at the bottom, indicator above, and this up, down arrow, and the mode enter button, these control all of your dashboard here. So you have multiple information provided here. Just for the guys who wanted to know the average mileage of this bike, that is what it's giving me now. 16.5 kilometers per liter. So being a 1250cc plus bike, it gives a little less mileage. But on the highway, I think that figure should improve. This is mostly in city ridings and stuff like that. So once we get on the highway, I think it should give us a little better mileage. And coming back onto the electronics. So this bike has multiple riding modes. So when your bike is on the move, you cannot change the you can select the riding modes definitely on the move, on the fly,
but you cannot change the settings inside. So for changing the settings, the bike has to be come to a complete halt. And the settings on this, you have 4 riding modes basically: sport, touring, urban, and enduro. We'll just have a look at the sport, which I'm pretty sure all of us like. In the sports mode, again, we have all these settings which can be interchangeable based on your personal needs and preferences. And again, all these are controlled by the jog dial here. Selecting the engine, again, you have 3 modes: high, medium, and low. Low gives you a meager 100 horsepower, which actually puts Rujan's bike to shame, which is about 94 horsepower.
What?
Yeah, bike.
94 horsepower.
And this in the low mode gives you 100 horsepower. In the medium and high gives you close to 156 horsepower.
94 in the world, but in India it's somewhere around 86.
It's detuned for India.
So that can be remapped by remapped.
And the reason for that again being the quality of fuel in India. Yeah.
If you change the exhaust, you get 4 more bhp.
That is with every bike. Yeah, you change your ECU, flash your ECU and all. That changes, but again you lose your warranty and all those matter.
And then you with the car.
So again, the same thing. Even you use all these bikes with the lower grade fuel which we get in our country, you will definitely not get that kind of horsepower out of these machines. It'll be slightly muted, but again, for our kind of road, these bikes are way too much of power. Again, in the medium and high, this bike gives you the full 156 odd horsepower. And the medium and high, the throttle response is different. On the medium, it gets you much smoother throttle response compared to the high. Traction control has got an 8-level traction control depending on the kind of riding you do. Presently it is a 3, which is road and performance oriented for the sport mode. So if you want something more safer in case of wet or something, in case of rainy conditions, you can put it in 8. So it is very easily understandable even for a layman. That is how Ducati has made their dash. So somebody without too much of technical knowledge can actually fine tune this bike to their liking and to their riding ability, so that it becomes very easy. TWC, 156 horsepower on 2 wheels, you're bound to lift the front wheel. So this helps you keep that in check. Wheelie control, again 8 levels, 8 being the highest and 0 being off and 1 being the lowest. Quick shifter, up and down. Suspension settings. This, as I said, this bike you can actually adjust the suspension because it's completely electronically controlled. You've got a wire which runs into your ECU, so it controls everything from there. So the front and the rear both are controlled from here. So for now, on the sports mode, I have it a little bit on the firmer side so that it's hard, and the rear is also set to the same. So you have multiple settings depending on you want it for comfort or a little bit of spirited riding. So you have plenty of information on this bike. Again, coming to the main dash, it shows you, this is the full mode, so it shows you the rev counter at the top, speedometer, your gear indicator. Again, at the top right corner is your phone, which is connected via Bluetooth, the mode which you're in. Currently I'm in touring mode, and the fuel gauge, engine temperature or engine coolant temperature, and the settings for your modes. Other than that, we have few warnings here. One is for the side stand, which is on now, and the other one is for the oil service. So that's about it. But in reality, that's a lot of information, a lot of tricks which this bike can do. Dude, do you think, what are the negatives you found about this bike so far?
The heat.
Definitely.
Maintenance cost.
It costs more than double of the African twin, and that's expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, dude. Pretty much heat. You have everything in it.
Yeah.
Again, that's not a off-roader. So
It's not an
you cannot
off-roader.
compare that bike to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, only heat. That's what I felt.
It gets hot. Like, it gets hot like there is no hell. You get stuck in traffic, and oh boy, this thing.
Boils up to 104 degrees Celsius.
And the problem is not the engine temperature. Engine temperature is fine. The bike can maintain 104 quite easily. It is your legs. There are so many other bikes which we had which go up that high.
Dissipation was much better on the
No, the dissipation is better on this because the engine doesn't get overheated. I never found this bike getting overheated ever.
But it dissipates.
It dissipates, yeah. The way it dissipates heat, oh, it radiates heat onto your legs, onto your thighs. It is bloody hot. What do you think about this bike which you're on now?
It looks beautiful.
One word. That's all, huh?
That's it. It looks beautiful. I like it without the cowl though. I like it without this fairing.
I like it with that. He likes it without it. So maybe after some time we'll remove that.
It's on the paddock. That is the reason why I'm sitting so high. Okay. There's actually nothing much to explain. Tachometer, speed, fuel range, odometer, and you have 3 modes: rain, road, sport, and that's it.
That's all. It's a very simple bike, unlike the other ones.
Simple, easy to start, easy to go, not easy to ride.
It's aggressive, but it's the most beautiful bike in our garage. And I'm pretty sure all of you want to listen to its sound as well, right? So here we go. It's going to be a cold start, but please do listen to it.